Hello, everyone.
Hi.
We figured we'd start a few minutes early so we can do some kibitzing because we want to hit the ground running.
We have so much information to go over tonight. So thank you guys for popping in early.
And we got your comments in the sidebar, a new feature of Streamyard. So if you type in a comment where you're from, how long you've been following CCO, are you new? Are you a long timer? And you'll see your comments float up.
And remember, we are using multiple platforms. So not only are some people logged into Streamyard specifically, but we have YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn as well. So you can probably you'll see those logos going by. And now everybody can see everybody's comments, whereas before you could only see the comments in the platform that you were using. So this is cool.
We can still share it big, but this way we can kind of just see, people's comments and feedback. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, Deborah. I thought she said today. Noah said he got it today. It was 2019 that he passed. Okay, I was going to say, hooray for you. Oh, wait. Oh, hello, Caitlin, you too. Man, that went by fast. I was trying to catch Nolan. We have quite a following in New York now, too, because I was working with SUNY there for a little while, and real smart cookies there. That was a lot of fun to be involved with them, and some of the advanced degrees that they were getting in our world, in our arena.
Yeah. So your week went pretty good, Alicia. I haven't gotten to chat with you. We're both so busy these days.
We are busy, and it's been good. My car's not been doing too well. I have to tell you about that. That was interesting. And otherwise, yeah, the weather cooled off. We got a nice little shift in the temperature. And the other day I came home and everybody in the family was standing out in the front yard by the driveway, and we just had no reason to go in. It felt so nice to stand there. And I remember looking at my husband and I said, can we live somewhere that it's this temperature all the time? I said, do you think there's a place like that? And he said, there might be. But anyway, it's getting to be beautiful. It hasn't tipped yet, but leaves are falling, but they're still green. So I don't know what's up with that.
Very good. Very good. All right. Well, it's top of the hour. So I'm going to, we're doing it a little different tonight. We're going to do the commercial break that we normally do in the middle. We're going to do it at the front so that when Alicia does the presentation, she can just do it from top to bottom and you can just stay engrossed in the presentation on the 2026 ICD update. So I'll do my little part. Let me bring us back to this one. Okay. There we go. So this is our topic today. Thanks to Find a Code for sponsoring this. This is a 2026 ICD-10-CM update. We've been doing this every year for ICD and CPT and getting those free CEUs out to the coding community. So normally, why are a lot of people here? They want their CEUs. So this is the slide that explains it. So we're, again, thanking Find a Code for sponsoring this tonight so it can be free for everybody. And the way that you get the CEU is you're going to need to take a little CEU quiz. So you got to pay attention so you can answer the questions. And the way to get activated in our exam platform and when you get the CEU certificate, you can do this while we're doing the presentation, because if everyone tries to wait till the end, sometimes it hurts the server and it takes a while. So go to cco.us/cco-free-forum. I'll put that in the chat as well. And just get registered. If you're not sure if you've done it or not, go ahead and do it again. And it won't hurt anything, but it'll make sure that you get in there. So it's...
I can do that. Well, you've already started.
Yeah. We probably have it in there, but I'm faster at typing it than looking it up.
How many of us are like that too?
And then when you get in there, you'll be able to see where the CEU quiz is. And by the way, there's 2 other ones in there from last year's update that haven't expired yet. So if you want to watch the replay of that and earn those 2 CEUs, you can do that too. But you're going to have to do that. I think they're going to be expiring in a month. So or at least the ICD one is. So the club members get the goodies. So if you want the handouts from tonight's presentation, you do need to join the club for that. We have the full transcript, the handouts, the discussion area if you have follow-up questions. So join the club, cco.us club. And these are our pricing structure. You can either do it monthly for $24.99, or you could do it annually for $249, but that's currently on sale for $199, and we'll give you that information in a minute. Or you can do what 2 people did today, and they became CCO Club Plus members, and they get to have 2 courses at a time. So it could be a coding course in medical terminology, it could be an inpatient course with pharmacology. So it's a really good deal. So check that out. $329 to get in. This slide's wrong. It's 2 courses now. We just had some changes in our pricing structure. So I'm going to show you that. So cco.us/club will take you to that information. And this is the slide to remind us to tell you it is the annual club is currently on sale for $199 in honor of our new CCO Academy, which we launched July 4th. Independence Day.
That's right.
This is our new pricing model. I'm going to go through this quickly, but if anyone needs help deciding what's best for them, if you are in the market for a coding course or a review blitz, i.e. boot camp, what we've done is basically just ask yourself, do you want to rent or do you want to buy? So we have our full pay option. So this first column, if you're thinking of just using the PBC course, the physician-based coding course as an example, it's one price. Our normal price is $14.47, and you get lifetime access now. You get group support via Zoom calls, discussion forum. You get private coaching and support. Phone support comes with the lifetime full pay model. Access to the Batcave, you get a blitz included, you get practice exams included. So that's the full one. That's like the gold standard there. But we also brand new introducing a subscription model. So you get access as long as you're subscribed. You can cancel at any time. It's only $59 per month. And you get the group support. You do get the private coaching support room, but you don't get phone support with that. You do get access to the Batcave, but you would have to purchase the blitz and the practice exam separately when you're ready. What's great about this, if you want to try to see if you like the course first, and if you don't, the most you lost is $59. Or if you get done in 6 months, it's only $354. So it's a really good deal. Not that we're trying to get you to rush through it, but for people that are on a budget, this is a great option. We just are launching this tonight. A couple people found it on the sales page already this week. So we have 2 people who have already signed up for this. So yay. Now the next 2 columns are about the blitz. We have a full pay and a subscription. So the full pay, lifetime, you're owning it, so to speak. And the subscription is a monthly rental. Why is it the same price? Because it's content you're going through. It's access for that month. So we kept it all the same, the pricing model. So you would subscribe to the PBC first, and then when you're done, then you jump over and you subscribe to this. Okay. And you can see what the differences are. And it's on the website as well. And then practice exams. We've normally had them available for 9 months. We're going to go down to a month, and they're $34.95. That's the new pricing, which is going to go into effect after September 1st. So right now they're $5 less. And then this is the lifetime. If you want access to the practice exam with the rationales because you want to come back and review it, it would be $59. Kind of like that 59. We're throwing that around. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, you can. It's on all of the sales pages on cco.us website. So we're very excited about this, and we're seeing a lot of people already taking advantage of it this week, and we haven't even like officially really announced it. So, oh, this goes with today's presentation. Hot off the press, just finished like yesterday. Thanks to Hina. She's one of our longtime interns. She met her intern hours long ago, but she stayed an intern because she likes it so much. But she's finally done, and this, I think, was her last project. So thank you, Hina. And then Sylvia was the subject matter expert, our coder, that was reviewing it all. And so we really appreciate them. I did want to show you really quick. This is the 2025 version, but what's exciting about it, and what the students who have seen this from before, they're like, where is 2026 ready? Is 2026 ready? So yes, it's ready, and it'll be up on the website probably sometime tomorrow. We just have to do a couple, what's that called? Watermark stuff on it, but it's all annotated with really helpful notes. So I'm just going to scroll really quick to kind of show you, to get you excited. Now, this is only available to who, Alicia?
Sorry, I had myself muted because there was an echo. This is remember, this is not CPT, this is ICD, and this is available to our full-time members.
The Bat Cave.
Yep, the Bat Cave members. And Noah had just stated, and I put it up on the screen a moment ago, the Bat alone is worth that price for the CPT test. So, so not only if you're wanting to get a core credential, but if you're looking into risk adjustment, this would be an excellent thing to be involved with the BAT.
Yes, and so the BAT Club is a bonus. We do not sell access to the BAT Club. It comes with every student enrollment, whether it's course or blitz, and club members. So the cheapest way to get it is to become a monthly club member. That's the lowest way to get access to this. And we will, the Bat Cave also has all of the annotations in my CPT manual, and I think we only do the guidelines for ICD, but at any rate, that's definitely worth it. And we're introducing some different versions this year that I think will make everyone excited. We have a back to school special going on right now, 25% off. I'm going to put the sales page in the chat so you can, have it for later. So just click on it and save it until after the presentation. That's going to go till next Sunday. So all of those full price courses that are $14.47, and we have ancillary courses that are, I forget the amount, but they're all 25% off until next Sunday. So take advantage of that back to school special, Labor Day special. So now I am going to turn this over to Alicia and get my mug off the screen. So give her your kind attention. If you have questions in the chat, I'll be monitoring it, and I'll pop them up if it makes sense to show them at that time. And then at the end, we'll open it up for, other questions and doing a wrap up. So give Alicia about an hour to earn that 1 CEU, and take it away, Alicia. Oh, you got to share your screen.
Getting it shared now. It should, just a second here. There we go. Very good. Technology, isn't it exciting? Now, we did want to give you a heads up. There is a lot of content that we wanted to go over. And for those of you that have been with us before, you know that when we do these updates, we don't just put the codes on the screen and kind of robotically tell you what they are. We try to give you a little insight and behind the scenes as to why these codes are important and what the changes were, because we want that to be more applicable to your everyday life as a coder or as an administrator, whatever your position is, supervisor, manager. If these codes will be crossing your desk, it's a good idea to have foresight into what's happening for the year. That being said, since we do have a lot of content, I may switch over from showing you the slide to actually letting you see in Find a Code my favorite encoder to use because of several different reasons, which I'll show you a couple of the perks as we get going. The first thing I want you to know about is how many codes have been changed. It's kind of a light year this year. 487 new codes, revised and changed codes. There were 38 and 36 deleted codes. When we look at the deleted codes, though, we don't really usually talk about them too much because in actuality, it's not like they took the code completely away. What they usually do is take a code that needed to be expanded and they got rid of the code and put extra characters on it. So that code's deleted, but it has like 12 new codes with extra characters. So we don't spend a lot of time talking about deleted. And the revised and changed, that's usually a little bit of, they kind of try to bulk out the description a little bit more or make some subtle changes in the description to make it easier to understand or not as ambiguous. The important thing to know about Find a Code, though, one of the many things we're going to talk about is that within Find a Code, every year, they not only give us the new codes, but they also keep the old new codes, as you'll see under the red box, and then the previous year. So I can go back and look at 2023. That was a really hot year for changes. 21 was a really big year for changes. And that way you can go in and maybe there's a code that you knew that was new, but you couldn't remember what it was, but it was relatable to something that crossed your desk. You can go back and look at that. And it's interesting to see what they make their focus on every year when they pull out these new codes. And as I scanned them, I thought, oh, there's some really interesting ones. Ulcers got a lot of love this year. Now, if you want more information about Find a Code, it's real easy to look them up. It's just findacode.com. And when you go to find the new codes and you click on new right here, it's going to look like this when you bring it up. I'm just going to give you a peek real quick. I'm going to just quickly slide through some of these. Don't get dizzy. Oh, wait, it's not sharing because I shared my screen versus the actual codes. I'll come back and show it to you in a minute. Because let's get started. So these are the new codes that are going to be coming out officially as of October 1st, 2025. The new codes also are available with inclusion terms and other instructions. It's not just the new code and then it doesn't say anything else. They're going to actually put in all the other information. In the past, what they used to do is just give you the ID of the code, the description when it's a new code. So this is kind of nice that they've done that. Another thing that's huge is the common language description. I use this all the time. In fact, I was using it, a couple of them today. One of my favorite ones to use as an example is to just look up E1 1.42, and it not only does it give you the diabetes, but it also gives you the different types of neuropathy that is part of, because there's mononeuropathy and polyneuropathy and so on. And it gives you a description about all of those so that if I need to give that to a coder, I can just, show them that. And especially if they have a subscription, I can just give them a link. But I can also show that to the clinician and say, look at all the options that we have. And when we look at a common code that you may not have been aware, we can translate for you, but we need that verbiage. And this is what we're given to identify that. The examples that we have from Find a Code is this one, familia hypercholesterolemia, which is quite common. It gives you, notice, the symptoms and the treatments, because especially with new coders, they don't always know the signs and symptoms of a diagnosis. So they're learning. And then especially in risk adjustment, where you have to be able to draw a link and show meat for that diagnosis, you need to know the signs and symptoms or a specific treatment or a test. And that being said, you can have that all with Find a Code right at your fingertips when you bring up the code, because it's on the main screen with the code. You don't have to go clicking around to find it. Every year, the Find a Code adds to the CLDs that they have, but every common code that you're going to be working with, usually on a daily basis, will have that, and some that are less common, you'll be surprised. Instead of going and Googling it, look up the code, and that information that you probably need about the diagnosis to better understand it is right there. So again, it not only does it give you this description, the signs and symptoms, the treatments, maybe some tests or more specificity, but look, it even reiterates a guideline sometimes right there. And these are copywritten by Find a Code. Want to make sure that you give them attribution. The example that they're showing here is hearing loss. And notice that they're telling you type 1, 2, and 3. So if you're looking at a note and you're trying to, the clinician wrote, type 2 hearing loss, you're not going to necessarily know what that is. But if you come in here and look up the code, then it'll tell you it's moderate to severe loss at birth. And this particular one, it doesn't have the parent code there. And then it tells more information about it. And it says report other when documentation specifies a type which is not available in the code set, or unspecified when it doesn't give you the type, because further testing needs to be done. This is information you need to remember. And so it's good to be right there by the code. Now, for 2026, we're going to jump in and we're going to look at some of the changes in specificity, and then we're going to go look out at Find a Code and see how it's revealed in this extremely easy to use and navigate format that I truly appreciate. And in fact, it's so much fun to go through it. I encourage everybody every year to scan through these new codes this way through Find a Code. So again, you can see what's happening. What was their thought process this year? What body areas or diagnoses did they focus on to elaborate and give more specificity? Because that's usually why we're given new codes. When we look at the changes, we know that they usually want greater specificity, and they'll expand the options for diagnoses. This time they did non-pressure ulcers. We ended up getting over 100 new codes. And that is the reason it's so expansive, is because it, remember, with ulcers, we have stages. So for one location, because we have all the locations, then we have to have stages in addition. And so what they did was they added a pressure ulcer location. They did the abdomen this time and the flank, which normally we don't think about flank, but that is the hip and the costal area, the rib area is what we usually refer to as the flank. So again, when you have severity, that means when one code's deleted, then you get a higher specificity, usually location or type, and then you have to put in laterality and all this other stuff. They added to neoplasms, musculoskeletal disorders, and conditions like lipodystrophy and chronic ulcers. Now, for the guidelines, they clarified coding for HIV and conditions that involve multiple sites, and type 2 diabetes in remission. Had you ever thought that we'd get a code for diabetes in remission? I think that's truly amazing. And that lets you understand how our job when we code isn't necessarily about getting paid, and this mantra I tell you guys all the time, it's statistics. We code for statistical purposes. It happens to be a convenient way to get paid. And why do we have these statistics? Because that's how new treatments are developed, what focus on the complexity of a patient population. We know that obesity is an issue, diabetes an issue. And if they now can put diabetes in remission, type 2, wow, right? So that's very telling. It's important, though, don't forget that you should review the updated new guidelines, and anything in bold that's not a heading will be something that's changed. Usually it's just little tweaks that they do, though. No major changes, but when they do make major changes, we absolutely let you know. And some of you old timers, it wasn't that long ago, but remember when they went to causal relationships in diabetes? I mean, that kind of blew our minds. Now, another thing about the updates is we have some structural changes. They revise note structures and put additional information in the excludes 1 and exclude 2 notes. And also in Find a Code that I really appreciate is they highlight these in a different color. So the I think use additional code is in yellow, and like a teal sometimes is used for another one. And then the excludes 1 and the excludes 2 are in red. So my eye can navigate to that page when I look at a code really quickly. Also, the conversion tables, the availability of resources. You've got mapping, deleting inactive codes to their replacement. That'll happen in October 1st. So I looked up a code the other day that I had written down, and I typed it in, and it popped up, and it was a deleted code because they'd actually expanded it. And right there next to that code that I brought up was a bar that told me, look, click here and see the expansion. And then it popped up on the next screen, and I had 3 other choices for higher specificity. And my note was, I guess it was that old. It would have been just a year old. Very important that we get these right. Now, most of the time, if we're working and we're typing in codes into our platform, it will alert us that the code isn't a valid code. But if you're making notes, or you're educating, or you're wanting to send somebody a memo, you want to make sure you have it right, and that you don't put a code that's been expanded in a note. I always think that would make me feel like I'm not very bright. I want to make sure everybody knows that I'm passionate about ICD-10 and I get it right. Some other notable newly added diagnoses codes that we need to be aware of, again, is non-pressure chronic ulcers. These are going to be in chapter 12. If you divide the code set up into chapters, I tend to not so much. I use the first character to think about them, but some people think of them in chapters. We again have over 100 new codes for the L98.4. What they did was they now have non-pressure chronic ulcers by specific site and severity. We've always had that, including abdomen, chest, neck, face, groin, and upper extremities. So we've, in the past, we've always had the anatomy that we could say that, it's a foot ulcer, it's a lower extremity ulcer, upper extremity ulcer, but we didn't have a lot of specificity of other major parts of the body. Now, we've probably all seen that diagram where it shows you where the most common pressure ulcers are, and they kind of covered that up. They said trunk, but now we have higher specificity. So that's why we have a lot of one. One of those is to be on the neck. Now, I wouldn't have thought about a pressure ulcer, a non-pressure ulcer on the neck. However, when I saw this graphic, and thank you, Mary, and the interns for adding this, think about a person that has a trach. So that could have a wound, or even when it's healing, if it's not healing properly, that's a perfect place to have an ulcer whenever there's a wound. So if you have a diabetic with a wound on the neck, we couldn't really fully describe where that is. And we have better specificity. Why would we need that? Well, let's say that a person had a specific allergy to tape. You have to tape, and it's not easy to keep those tubes in place. And so their skin got irritated, it broke down, and an ulcer developed. We want to be able to describe that. And then next thing you know, they'll be coming out with a new type of tape that can hold those tubes in place, that is non-allergenic, I guess. So that's just a quick example, but there's a lot of other reasons. Now, quickly, let's look at how this code is divided up. L98.4, that's the new edition codes, but we have 3.1, which is abdomen, and then limited breakdown of skin. That's the last character, and then it would go on to say the fatty layer, and then necrosis, muscle exposed, bone, and stuff. It would continue on there. But we have abdomen, neck, and groin. So here's 3 examples of how those new codes would look. Pretty exciting, right? And if you're into wound care, this is going to be really pertinent for you. Another area that they added was R codes, which are signs and symptom codes. A new code is R10.2, converted to a parent code for specific types of pelvic and perineal pain. And then we've got cannabis hyperemesis, there, I got it, syndrome. One of the side effects of cannabis use is you start vomiting. And so that's what hyperemesis is. And it because it's classified as a syndrome, I guess you could say that it's rather more common than you can think. They actually have a code for that now. So think about how we had to describe that. Cannabis use, nausea and vomiting, or hyperemesis, which didn't necessarily link those. Now we have a link that the reason they have hyperemesis, it's now a syndrome, and it's due to cannabis. Then they also added the costovertebral angle tenderness and abnormal immunological findings. I thought that costovertebral was interesting because a lot of people get rib pain, and they, there's no way to say that in the code set to describe that. And that's kind of a common thing. And if any of you guys have stretched or pulled that rib, you know what that feels like. You could just lean over a certain way, and next thing you know, you got that sharp pain. But again, now we have a way to describe it for signs and symptoms. Another area that had expansion, we now have a new type of breast cancer. We have inflammatory breast cancer. It's not that the cancer is new. We've always had inflammatory breast cancer. We just didn't have a code for it. So now we have C50.A, and that's malignant inflammatory neoplasm of the breast. And then, as always, those codes are expanded into laterality as well as parts of the breast. So you can see how that would mean a lot of extra codes. Now, if you didn't know, this is abbreviated IBC, and I've seen this documented quite a bit. It's rather aggressive, and so we can properly identify it for research. The expansion also happened to Z15.06 now for genetic susceptibility of digestive system malignancies, and now it includes colorectal cancer, which you guys know, if you study cancer, if that crosses your desk, colorectal cancer, if caught early, is one that they can treat and get rid of pretty effectively. The problem is you don't usually have the signs and symptoms until it's progressed. So they have the ability now to look for susceptibility. Why would you want to know that instead of just a family history? we can look this up, that means that people be prompted to get tested earlier. And there's easier ways than getting tested than there was in the past. In addition, we have some new SDOHs. These are always a big deal. One of the reasons is it changes the E&M leveling for some of our patients. And we want to make sure that we encourage our clinicians to document SDOHs, but sometimes they don't even know what they are and how to do that. So CCO actually has not a questionnaire, but a free tool that we created on the SDOHs. We'll need to update it now that we're going to have some new codes, but that you can put in the packet when the patient comes in, a new patient comes in, and they need to fill out that information. So we now have Z5 9.86 is a new subcode for financial insecurity. That happens all the time for people. It can come in phases in your life, different times in your life. It's to have financial insecurities. And if you have to pay for your medication or you put off going to the doctor because you don't have the copayment even, that's pertinent to your care. And there's a new code for exposure to war conflict zones. That is, they now have Gulf War as identified. And I thought that was interesting. We had gotten a few years back different codes, these new Z codes, to identify problems that our veterans were having after a war, and also like terrorism attacks and stuff like that. However, now they have a specific war identified, and that's pertinent because of where it was located at. And, if somebody was in the burn pits of Afghanistan and exposed to that, then they know that they're having the, swollen lymph nodes or whatever, that there's a possibility they were exposed and could have this specific type of cancer. Now they can do the same thing for Gulf War veterans. They know what exposure they could have had to specific antigens or something that could affect their life. So again, it's all statistics so that we can better treat the patient and identify quicker what the diagnosis would be. We also have some new allergy codes, which thrills me because I'm actually allergic to milk. I am not lactose intolerant. I'm allergic to casein, which is the milk protein. And now there's a code for me. Everybody thinks that I'm lactose intolerant, and I'm not. If I drink milk, I break out in spots. So not only did they add new allergy codes for milk products and eggs, but they have a subsection divided up for, are you allergic to milk but not baked products with milk? Or are you allergic to milk and milk baked into products? They did that same thing with eggs. And I thought that was brilliant because, again, some people that are allergic to milk, not lactose intolerant, if you bake a cake and you put milk in it, they don't have a problem. And other people like me, if I eat a cookie that has milk in it, I'll still have a problem. So that's really exciting. We want to be able to identify that so that we can come up with maybe shots in the future or something that a patient can take. But they also added anaphylaxis. So for these conditions, that's never happened to me. They are not new. These are expanded because of the differences between baked versus fresh tolerances. So that is huge. I'm excited about that. Some other new codes is neurological and eye disorders. We've got G35 codes that are for reporting types of multiple sclerosis. We now can do relapsing and remitting, primary and progressive. I was just reading about a particular actress that we all know, but I think it's Christina I can't remember. Applegate. She has MS, and she's been writing and talking about the process and how it affects your organs, and your organs shut down, and the digestive problems that she's had and so on, which brings emphasis to this. And now we have higher specificity with MS, so that's good. We also have a eyelid inflammation code, the HO1.8, and then we have the code for thyroid. Let's see, orbitophy or orbitophy, that when your eyes bulge when you have thyroid issues. That's H05.83. And again, these codes are expanded. That's not all. We also, and I don't know if we got that on here, I saw that there were some new glaucoma codes. There's a new glaucoma, or I don't know, that makes new vessels or something. It might be in here. Then we have some emergency and injury codes. We have some new S codes for contusions of the abdominal wall. And I thought that was pretty fascinating because contusions, for some people, not a problem. You got a bruise in your abdomen and you recover, right? But people that might be on blood thinners, hey, that is absolutely going to be a problem. Also, we have food-related anaphylaxis codes. The TH7.0 were expanded. Now, some key revisions that if you just want to see some of the impacts as a review is with the new changes and the revised codes are the non-pressure ulcers. We have the pain and symptom codes. We have oncology codes, which again, we talked about, but we also have the Z15.06, social determination of health, neurology, eye disorders, and emergency injuries. Now, not only did we have new codes, but we had some of these codes that were revised. And when codes are revised, it's in the description of usually giving us either laterality, depth. This is really pertinent when we talk about cancers. MS is important, as I said. But anytime we have a type of injury, then we want to get as much specificity as we can. Okay. Important resources. These are fantastic resources. You can go into not only ICD-10, but CM, but PCS through Find a Code. So if you really want a complete list of the new codes, the deleted codes, and any additional information, this is what it would look like. Now, you want to make sure that you review areas of new codes in the specialty that you work with. So this time cardiology really didn't get much love, but oncology did. And like we said, ulcers, which would be wound care, which would would also affect like diabetes. And we want to make sure that if it's not a foot ulcer and it's an ulcer and the patient has diabetes and the clinician wants to link that's complicating, they're complicating each other, then those have to be linked. And so we want to educate our clinicians on the verbiage that's needed for that. When you go to roll out these new codes for your office, this is where you want to focus on specialties that are most applicable for where you work. Again, you need to be aware of all of them, but that is very important. There was some expansions in specificity for granularity in infections and disease coding, as well as antibiotic resistance. There was an article that just came out that there is, I think it was a particular over-the-counter medication that they are linking to antibiotic resistance, which I thought that I didn't get a chance to read it, but you might look for it. So for infection resistance, we look at the Z16 for better definition. And it's really important to know that there's going to be a lot of additional codes that are applicable. When you bring up that code, pay attention to the whole page and find a code, not only for that description, language description, but code also used in addition to, et cetera, because we've got to be able to tell the full story. A lot of times it has to do with the organism involved, like MRSA or something. We also have some emerging infectious diseases. There is some news on Zika virus and the COVID-19, of course. that will always expand the code set. Now, for infections, we want to know that there was a clarification in the guidelines. And the guidelines, they reiterate the process of sequencing when sepsis is present with an underlying infection. And then the documentation requirements. Not only are we, translating for the clinicians, but we also need to make sure we're educating them on what the description or the codes available to them are. So they need to be aware of the verbiage to use so that we can better translate for them. And if you don't know to be able to tell them, then you're just running circles around each other. For sepsis 3, despite the clinical debate on this, it doesn't really fully adopt that sepsis 3 term. And so that can impact some hospital coding and reimbursement with sepsis. So be aware of that. And then that resistance and sepsis, if it's due to an infection with a resistant organism, you're instructed to use both the sepsis code and the Z16 code for the resistance, unless the main code already specifies that information. So a quick summary of some of the changes that have happened is that we're going to now add the Z16 after an infection if it's relevant. We're going to use specific codes for these pathogens for MRSA and let's see, VRE. I'm trying to remember what that is on the top of my head, and I can't. It just escapes me. But you don't add the Z16 if the primary code already has that in the description. And that's common sense. We know that. That's a basic coding rule. With the sepsis coding guidelines, we're still maintaining the guidelines that we have, and that's going to be sepsis, severe sepsis, and septic shock. Sepsis criteria still follows the sepsis 2 definition, and it's not fully aligned with the sepsis 3 yet. The documentation provided, it talks about specific verbiage that you need to use for the documentation, and really it ends up being organ dysfunction in sepsis and being very clear about that. And then there's some of the new emerging infections. So the ongoing code additions and updates to the guidelines, and look for COVID-19 and Zika and a couple others, I think, that'll cross our paths. Now, what should coders do? So first, we're going to always make sure we do what we're doing now. We're going to, check in and see what the new codes are. We're going to make sure that our clinicians and providers understand the new codes, what's available to them, and the verbiage that's needed so that we can translate properly. And make sure that you are absolutely, your coding manuals are up to date, as well as your, you have an encoder like Find a Code. The updates on clinical reporting and reimbursement for infections, it's really important that we get this right, because this a lot of times are quality measures involved. So now we have increased specificity. When you have new and revised codes, you've got to be aware of that specificity. And then when there's granularity or resistance in that Z16, that's something that, especially when you work with inpatient, that's you're going to have to be on top of that. It might be a way for you to get, do a report on that to your team when you have your team huddles or something. That would look really good for you. The clinical reporting and reimbursement for infections, again, clear sepsis documentation and updating coding instructions are all there in the excludes. I'm going to start moving kind of fast because we're running through our time. And this is what I'm getting into now is just a review, more or less, of why it's important to know this information. If you really want to have your RI in place, and that starts with not only your tracking and your having an analyst and stuff, but if you really want to avoid claim denials, remember they get the updates. And if we're not following with the updated codes and the changes, then we're going to start getting denials. So we make sure that those new codes are being used on the very first day that they're opened up. Also, when you have DRGs and case mixes, this is going to give us greater specificity to show a higher DRG possibility with these patients, especially when we're dealing with things like sepsis and resistance. And then those expanded Z code utilizations for social determinations of health and adherence to treatment. We want to make sure we stay on top of those. In addition, the Z codes really show complex cases. Some people say, well, are the Z codes really that important? Yes, they're important because it's all about the statistics. We want to know that the patient is not only on a long-term use of a anticoagulant, but are they on Coumadin, but they're also on Plavix? Well, there's two different codes for that, right? And so we want to be able to track that. That may change protocols in the future based on the diagnoses. The quality measures, again, they're tracked very heavily for infections. And so, excuse me, I can't believe I'm getting the hiccups. If we, I can see Laureen in the background smiling. So
Boo.
I know, we'll hope and see it goes away. So one of the things that involves a lot of revenue coming in to especially facilities are these quality measures. And they're tracked. They have whole departments that track these. A risk adjustment is just one of them. So to be able to be on top of what you need to know for these quality reporting, then you're going to have to know the new codes. Provider education and compliance. I think I've talked about that enough. That's what I do now. And and it really is important that we make sure our clinicians and all of the docs and the MPs and stuff understand what's available to them, because a lot of times it's in their brains, but for them to get, I think Brenda Edwards always says, think and ink. If for them to get that information down, they may not realize that we can even translate, which the number of diagnoses makes a difference on the E&M leveling. With health care organizations, we'll just briefly go over that's kind of what we already talked about. Let's move on. Potential future challenges. Training and workflow distribution. They can always come and look at these educational tools that CCO has. And a lot of times they'll have dual coding system updates. Let's see, expanded code sets for granularity. Remember, there's 487 new codes this year that have been tweaked. There's new parent and child code structures and updated documentation requirements for like sepsis. There's always going to be a reimbursement impact when we deal with the changeover for new codes. Now, again, I'm going kind of fast, so know that all of our people in the club have access to this slide deck, and they'll be able to go in and reference these, and you can also use them to make notes if you want to be giving a presentation for your team, say in a huddle. So increased audit scrutiny is important and impact on that quality reporting. We said that more than once. Lag in system updates. We don't want to have problems with that, or knowledge gaps. Okay, real quick, let me stop sharing, but I want to reshare just to be able to briefly show you find a code. And I need to tell it that let me bring it over.
You're doing good for time. You got about 15 minutes left.
Let's see. This is really, really important. So are you guys seeing? No, that's not the one I want. Let's hide. I really want you to see find a code.
Just maybe open a new tab and type in find a code.
I did, but it's I'm sharing. Let me stop sharing.
You might have to share your whole
studio. Okay, this is the screen I want. Okay, so when you go in to find a code, one of the things that I wanted you to be aware of, which, let me see if I can get rid of big. I want to get rid of that dashboard. Is this is another example of the common language description. Look how it talks about the diabetes, the polyneuropathy, the other descriptions, the excludes, the use additional codes. See how they're bright and easy to follow. And then this information here is so pertinent to new coders, and I use it, so it's not just new. Signs and symptoms, and then it divides up the different types of neuropathy and codes. I mean, it's wonderful. And then on top of that, if I want to go down here and you want to get expanded, I can go in and look at the coding clinics. So now that's additional features. But let's just talk about the new codes. So I want to go look at the new ICD codes. I'm going to come down here, and there's the new codes. And this is what I'm excited to show you. This is so simple to follow. For us who've been doing this for a little while, it just takes a few minutes, or you'll probably fall down the rabbit hole, but to just scan through and see what they focused on, because this is going to be alphanumeric. So we did have a thing on these mites. I thought that was funny. These are, remember, A and B codes are kinds of bugs and stuff like that. The cancer codes, that inflammatory breast code is there. And we got the new diabetes without complication in remission. This hyperolixuria, when people throw kidney stones and it's because of the oxalates, there's a whole section of codes to that. I have kidney stones, so this is really interesting that was all expanded. I'm going to jump quickly here to, here's those MS codes that we talked about. Relapsing, remitting, multiple sclerosis. One of the things a lot of people don't realize with MS, sometimes it affects certain body parts, and some people have problems all over, but other people just have some body parts that are affected. Maybe it's the eyes, and it can come and go in waves. And so now we have a better way to describe that. And then a whole list of MS codes. So that got a little bit of love. And then let's see, the eyes, we talked about that a little bit, thyroid, but now we're getting into different anatomical areas, this cutaneous abscess of the flank. And remember, flank would be the side, the ribs and the hips, cellulitis, a furuncle. So they're saying now we've added an anatomical site for these type of skin conditions. Then we get into the pressure ulcers. You get all of the codes for pressure ulcers, and the addition is now abdomen. We didn't have that option before. We just had trunk. And so now we have chest. So we abdomen, chest. So now the trunk is divided up in, so below the equator and above the equator, or the belly button. So that's, look at all of those and then the neck, the face, the groin, and then we get into upper arm. Let's see, just moving really quickly, unspecified upper arm, forearm. So before we could always do upper extremity or lower extremity. So now that we know, that's why we had so many codes, because look, we have laterality and other, the depth of the particular code. Now we get into codes, didn't get a whole lot, but this rheumatoid arthritis, or having that rheumatoid factor without having rheumatoid arthritis, I saw that. There's a couple here, the quirkiness. Oh, wow. If you want to have a little light reading and fun, go Google what some of these are. It's amazing what you'll find. I did look up one. Let's see, it's not this one. Which one was it? Oh, shoot. I did look up one. But all of these the Q codes are genetic codes. And I wasn't sure. But telling is that not only can we identify Usher syndrome now, but it's type 1, 2, and 3. And this is what when you go to a geneticist, or they're having genetic studies and then somebody does the report, that's what specificity will have. And so go look up that. Neurodevelopmental disorders. I don't see the one I looked up before I came on. Foxy syndrome. That's not Foxy. That's Fox GI, G1. Anything that helps you remember it. Then remember they added pelvic and peritoneal pain. Right. Then you have the laterality, suprapubic, flank. So I thought that was interesting. Flank is the key word this time. That was added in a lot of areas. So flank, when look, flank pain, tenderness, laterality, not only just the area of ulcers, but pain as well. Let the clinicians know that they can use the term flank. Then there's that cannabis hyperemesis syndrome.
Hyperemesis.
Emesis.
Blech.
Yeah. Costovertebral tenderness. So that is between the vertebra and the ribs. Oh, here's that abnormal rheumatoid factor without rheumatoid arthritis. So that's telling, right? They've done research and they found this. Let's see, contusions to the abdomen wall. We talked about that. And flank again. Look, now we have not only pain, ulcers, now we have an abrasion, blisters, external constriction, superficial foreign body of flank. So that really goes to tell you that with these additions, they were called to better identify at an anatomical location. And that truly impact. I think that's what got the most love this year, was that. Let's see, moving through these S codes, because a lot of them just have abdominal wall and flank and stuff like that. Let's get past them. I'm sorry, hopefully this isn't making you nauseous. Oh, there was one of the poisonings and self-harm, and I looked it up, and it was actually this right here. This is a vet tranquilizer.
Oh.
So what does that tell you? That's coming into the ER. So we have people using veterinary tranquilizers.
Or it's being used on them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Well, it says unintentional.
Yeah. So, that is, that's telling, right? That's a new street drug, I guess. I don't know. And here's that one I told you, Gulf War illness. See how that impacts. So we have an actual, whenever they're starting to have, it's a new age group. It's a new generation. Generational war is identified here. And then effects of other war theaters. And that's what they call them in the military. When they have a war and then they have a particular area like the Pacific Ocean, that would be a theater. I don't know at all that detail, but that's why they're using that verbiage. Here's that information about milk and the anaphylaxis and stuff, other allergies and stuff due to milk and eggs. And then, fish hooks. I have to shout out to the ER where I grew up and got to work in one of my first jobs in the medical field. Not my first, probably my third or fourth, I guess. But I got to be the fish hook girl. So when I worked in the ER and we were in a resort area, and I'm telling you, they came in with fish hooks all over their body. And we had a huge board where we'd hung all the different fish hooks. But I got to set up the fish hook tray, and it was so much fun. I was the fish hook girl. And let's see, low level blast overpressure. I'm not sure what that one was. I think, okay, so here's some other things that happen, how you get hurt. Splitting wood. I didn't even realize we didn't have that. Other outdoor activity. Generic,
yeah, that's odd.
That isn't that?
Wow.
I mean, how don't people slam they hit that piece of wood and something flies up and hits them in the face, or they get something in the eye, or I'm thinking you're going to hit your leg with the axe. Activity, outdoor activity. That's a really ambiguous term, but I can imagine that if we have nothing else to use, now we can identify that. And then once they start looking at the descriptions, the documentation, then we may end up with another thing like splitting wood. Maybe it's climbing a tree. I don't know. For sport. Genetic susceptibility to malignant neoplasm. This was the one we talked about for colorectal cancer. So now we have fallopian tubes and digestive, these different ones, kidney. These go with those Q codes, right? That they're looking for. And I suspect that when you go look at those, then eventually we'll get other codes that bounce off of those based on genetic findings. So genetic susceptibility, we've always had that for like BRCA, for breast cancer, would be a genetic susceptibility for breast cancer. And that tells you that the research is working, and that research is the initial point for that research is the codes that we drop based on the documentation that go in. And now that we're going to have AI that's going to be able to help us track the analysts faster, I have a feeling in the future we'll get new codes. Some of these codes, we'll start seeing that we get more codes instead of around 400. Allergy to milk, and then allergy to eggs. And this last one, I always think it's funny what the first one and the last one is. Personal risk factor of exposure to
Methylstilbestrol.
Well, somebody in the chat, you look that word up and let us know what it is.
Alicia, before you leave, find a code. Diana, and I'm sure everybody else, could you give the exact information or link where that list of the new codes was? So, yeah. And put it in the chat.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, these are probably not available to you. I don't know that they're available if you don't have a subscription.
Right.
So that being said, here's the new ICD-10 codes. For find a code, that's the first link I'm going to put in. Okay. But how you find that. So let's go to the home, find a code. This is what it looks like. And if you're not a member, you can still look up codes. It's free. You're just not going to get all that other information.
All the goodies. Yeah.
Yeah. All the goodies. So now if I say, I want to see what the new codes are. So I go here, and these are all the little expert things you can do. So I can look up CPT codes and all this additional information like SNOMED and stuff like that. Diagnoses, I can look up HCCs, DRGs, even ICD-11. So I'm going to go to ICD-10 because that's what we're looking at. Now, if I want to just type in a code here, I could, or information. Here's my index, just like your manual, the guidelines, or the codes themselves. And if I want to look at the codes themselves, see, I can even look here in a particular, it's like, oh gosh, I can't remember. Is that particular code an endocrine system or not? So I could do that. But where you're going to find that is, they even have the neoplasm table, drug chemicals, is right here. So this particular page is the page that has the information, the link that divides it up, because I gave you first the link to just the new codes. Then you can look on the changed codes, but here's the deleted codes. So let's look there. And it tells me right here, 28 deleted codes. But if you look, you'll see that they're really based on the new codes. So this particular code that I told you was when oxalates build up in the kidney and you get kidney stones. We only had primary in the past. Now we have primary, secondary, and I think there was 5 new codes for this. So that's how that was expanded. So it wasn't really deleted, it was expanded. We had only G35 MS. Now we have all of those other codes for MS, right? Pelvic and perineal pain expanded. So you can see all that contusion to the abdominal wall. It was all expanded. Now, we had allergy to milk, anaphylactic reaction. What we didn't have was that subcategory in the description to say, can they have it in a baked good? Do they react or not react in a baked good? So that was expanded for milk and eggs. Let's see. Financial insecurity was expanded. That's an SDOH. And allergy to milk and eggs. So allergy to milk and eggs and anaphylactic reaction. So this allergy for milk and eggs was expanded into baked goods and non-baked goods. So it's really telling that we had 28 deleted codes, meaning at 28 codes that were expanded. And then you go back and say, out of that, we ended up with 487 codes. So you could pretty well say, go look at the deleted codes first, because that's going to tell you what the focus was of this year for 2026. And they took less than 30 codes, right at 30 codes, and they turned them into almost 500 codes with the expansion. It's a synthetic non-steroidal estrogen that was historically widely used to prevent potential miscarriages by stimulating the synthesis of estrogen and progesterone in the placenta. Well, interesting. Thank you very much, Lisa. You get the gold star.
Diethylstilbestrol. Very good.
Wow. So if that helps you again, that's one of the reasons I think Find a Code is so brilliant. One is that they were based in education, just like CCO, we're educational based. That's our goal. And then they want to give you additional information. And the beauty of that is that it's easy to flow, user friendly. And there's some others I get, at work, I get one paid for and everything. I don't use it because it's bulky and it doesn't feel comfortable to pull out the information. And with this, it does. And like I said, you can look up any code. And right now we have G35 for MS. Now the new codes aren't put in yet, but when October 1st hits, if you put in G35, you'll have this information. And then in bright red, it'll say deleted code October 1st, 2025. And then it'll have a link to the new code range, because this was all expanded. And look here, all that additional information. Guess what? If you needed information about MS, there it is right there, your common language description. So I'm going to stop sharing, Laureen.
Oh, okay.
Or do you want me to bring the slide deck back or?
Oh, I can do it. That's fine. Yeah, I forgot you were. So any new questions in the chat?
Yes, the login. She wants to know. Community does, oh, wait. No, that's not the one I meant to share. This is the one. CCO
Right.
Community and CCO Academy are not the same login.
Thanks,
So,
Noah. Yeah, so we have gone from the CCO, you can take your stuff down. I'll just do this for now. The CCO Community was our previous platform for our courses and everything, and quizzes and CEUs. So the only thing we're keeping in from that is the exams. But people who are still using they're going through their courses there, we're not yanking them out until, maybe like a year from now. But we have the new platform, which is wonderful. And I really encourage you to go check it out, cco.academy. But for now, we are using the exam and quiz and CEU certificate functionality of that until we get it built over, because that's pretty complicated. So
Sylvia mentioned that you should have a character at the end of your password for new passwords, by the way. Just then you'll be able to tell the difference between.
Yeah, it's not going away. You don't have to do it tonight. You can take the quiz whenever. We're not doing live versus watching a recording. We're just doing it one way now. Our goal for going into 2026 is keep it simple.
Yep.
Less friction, keep it easy. So
possible.
Yeah, everyone takes the quiz, whether it's live or not. They're only 10 questions. They're not hard. And then when you get over 70 and you can retake it, then you get your nice little certificate. So just one way for everybody, because it just was getting administratively very challenging to do passwords and, and the password was just because we had one question. Did you attend live? Yes or no? Now we just do all the 10 questions for everybody. So Easy
That's
peasy.
that's another thing I'm sure you've noticed with the new finance, the way we're setting this all up, and Laureen's worked really hard to do this, but it's making it more affordable for you as we trim down at CCO and try to work out some of those administrative things. That's why we do those. If you want to know why, you know, making it easier for all of us.
Yep. So this is the slide that we did the past couple of webinars on our new CCO Academy. You can get there by going to cco.academy. Really nice, easy way to remember. You might have to put the www in depending on which browser you use. So keep that in mind. It is very mobile friendly. That was one of the reasons why we adopted it. I just got my bill for it. It is expensive. So that is why we are, trying to defray costs. We have to charge a platform fee for the biggest cost for us with all of our platforms is we get a lot of people requesting our free resources. And we've been happy to do that over the years, but we just got to get a little platform fee for some of the free exams because that takes the most administrative time. We've got a lot of people that sometimes have trouble with their passwords or whatever, and we help. We have to help, but it's a cost. So we want to defray that. So hopefully you'll understand that. Mad at us. Oops, I'm clicking on the wrong screen. I'm like, why isn't that changing? I did want to give a shout out to Michelle Staley, who recently passed, and she left a lovely comment. She said, I absolutely recommend this course and community. This is my second time going through the course. I took the course back in 2002 and passed the CPC exam on her first try, and she held her credentials for 10 years, then took a break to get her bachelor's. Afterwards, I stepped back into medical billing world and decided to recertify. And once again, I did the lectures and the BAT technique to prepare myself, took the test and passed. So thank you to Laureen and Alicia for all you do. And thank you to the wonderful CCO staff. Yes, the CCO staff. Alicia and I, we're like, passenger princesses. We just show up for the webinars and they're doing all the hard work behind the scenes. So, so I appreciate her giving kudos to the staff who helped make this platform possible. You provide a wealth of information for students and people in the workforce with coding questions. So congratulations, Michelle.
This was a good question that came up. Are your courses instructor-led or online at your own pace?
They are online at your own pace, but we are the instructors and we have recorded doing them normally. And many of them were done in a live situation like this. So it feels like live, but you can do it at your convenience. And here's a few testimonials. The BAT system, that was something I came up with in 2000, when was it? 1999. I'm dating myself. But there are some folks out there claiming that they came up with the system. They did not. They just gave it a different name. But all I've ever asked is just give me attribution and CCO attribution of the technique. It is industry wide. Everybody does it. It's everywhere. So, but it's a really great system on visually grouping in CPT your codes. And back in the day when we had Chandra working with us, she's like, I think we could do BAT for ICD. And she came up with doing it to the guidelines. She had actually done it and then she shared it and we've just kept it going since. So bubble, highlight, annotate technique. We always say it's like becoming one with your manual. It's a really effective system. It takes a while to bubble and highlight your book, but it always pays off. Every student after they take the exam, you were right. I hated doing it, but I'm so glad I did because when I took that exam, I was so able to visually see the answers. So the BAT system, wonderful lectures. I had 2 or 3 people today that I talked to on the phone. A couple of them are coming from other programs. They've already paid a full pay fee for another course, and it's so boring, and the lectures are so dry that they've come here because they see our YouTube videos and how we teach, and they're taking a chance with us. So now with that new $59 a month subscription program, even if you're in a course you hate, do that and you can supplement it with what you're doing. So we're trying to make it work. We wish you'd found us first, but we get it. We don't have the advertising budget like some of these places do, $20,000 a month to get placed high in Google Ads. So that's how we made this slide. If you've been let down by other medical coding and billing schools, we feel that you deserve better. That is a big driving force for why we changed our pricing model going into 2026. So what you can do is reach out. I have office hours, so to speak, in the evenings and on Saturday mornings. I do work a day job, so does Alicia. So we do a lot of this at night and on the weekends. So I do have a appointment thing. You can schedule time with me. But if you are in the Academy app, there's the help desk. You'll get an automatic welcome from the help desk. You can easily chat with them. You don't have to open up a ticket anymore. You can get help desk help there. You can still do the ticket system. So we have William who's helping on that, and Sylvia who's our ambassador for the help desk, and she's also our subject matter expert reviewing all of the intern work. She is the one mostly managing the help desk tickets. If you schedule a call for support, Sylvia is the one that is there helping you. So we've got a really good team. But schedule a call with me if you are stuck in a situation. Come talk to me. I'll help you figure out what to do. Sometimes supplementing with just a blitz. So you have someone else's course, you're not super happy with it, but you can supplement it with our blitz. So when you're doing the musculoskeletal system in the other program, you can watch our blitz section and at least get our summary and just a different teaching style. Darcy, who's one of our coaches, she teaches at a community college here in Florida. And every year she gets her college to pay for the blitz access for all of her students to supplement what she's doing. So it's great. So if you're a teacher out there and you'd like to supplement what you're doing for your students, reach out to us. We have programs for that. We have instructors that license our curriculum. We don't have a lot, but we have a few. If you would like to do that, have a conversation with us. We have an affiliate program again, but it's not for everybody. You have to have a following. Because when we did it before, everybody was going to the AAPC forum and, putting links up, and then they hated us. We weren't doing it. So we're not going to do that again. But if you have a following, if you're leading a group where you would like to become an affiliate and, promote some of our products, it doesn't have to be all of them. You can choose to just promote the blitz or choose to just promote practice exams. We know many instructors send their students to us because they want them to take the free practice exams. So we've been helping all these years, but now we're going to charge a $5 platform fee for the free practice exam. So we had to change the name today so no one got upset and call it, I think we decided to call it trial. It's the same test, 50 questions, all the great rationales, but just a $5 fee to defray the cost. So, so this is where you go, cco.us/Laureen-call. I'm putting that out there in the public. Anybody can schedule a call. I've dedicated that time to help people. So go ahead and schedule a call and I will call you at that time. So Laureen-call. So the last one, I think that's the last one. Yeah, okay. So any more new questions? Yes, I've heard that, Noah. Our exams are harder, our practice exams. And just to give you an idea of the process, that sheet that Alicia showed with the all the changes for ICD, we take that, we look at the deleted codes first, and our interns will vet. They're just starting. Mary, our project manager, just kicked off all the interns being able to start vetting our practice exams and everything for 2026. So they'll take that list of deleted codes and they'll see if any of the codes in the answer are, deleted. So now we got to rework the question. We might throw the question out and replace it with a new one. And we're also using AI to help us vet that as well to make it go quicker. So, and what our interns are really good at is helping us write the rationales, because we want every question of an educational piece. Mm-hmm. So, Alicia, you might have to turn your speaker down just a little bit so you don't get the feedback. That's okay. So we do that every year. That's a cost to us. Now the interns are doing it, but now you have to have Mary and Sylvia vet their work, because we don't just bring interns on And then whatever they change, we say, okay, that's fine. We have to double check it. That's part of the thing. So we can teach them if they got something wrong, or we'll go back and we'll ask them to maybe elaborate. So if you'd like to be an intern, our internship program is open. We had a little glitch where we weren't getting the notices of people applying, but we got it figured out. So Sylvia is, one by one onboarding interns. There is a process. We don't accept everybody. So you go through a little kind of, what do you call it, Alicia? It's not a test really, but it's.
No, but it's a vetting test, and do you know English? Can you work, some basic Excel things, because we heavily work in Excel, and some basic coding questions, and quite honestly, some very advanced coding questions, because we want to know where you're at and
research and yeah.
And then, so again, it's just for us to get a feel of, are you computer literate? Are you, can you work comfortably? And you may do really, really well in one area and not as well in another, and that's okay, but we also give you feedback on how you did.
Yeah. Thank you, Sylvia, for helping in the chat. She just put the link for the internship candidate application. Look at us, the three of us using Streamyard. Boyd would be proud.
I did want to say that, one thing through the years, we've been doing this a very long time. And so because of that, and that being said, knowing that our test questions are not only, when we say harder, I think it is the fact that ours are more intricate. We really dive in on the guidelines, and it's not just a simple, what's a cholecystectomy. And our test bank is huge. Through the years, we've really got a huge test bank. And so we can pull from those and select areas. So if you, want more help in cardiology or something like that, we have the potential to actually do that. And when Laureen mentioned that we have some instructors that are teaching at institutions and stuff, we can help you come up with finals, because we have the ability to pull those. And if you say, my students they're not getting this particular, that's how I met Laureen. My students weren't getting E&M, and I wasn't explaining it to them in the right way. It wasn't clicking. And so I had found Laureen, and I started telling them they could have extra credit if they would watch her on whatever nights. And they started and enjoyed it, because her teaching style was intuitive and fun. And
but I'm glad I did.
yeah. And
Sylvia was one of your students, wasn't she?
That's right. She was one of my advanced students, and I had 3 advanced students, and they would sit at my desk like little naughty children, my big desk and their 3 desks. You know how they do that in school. And we would work all day long, and then we'd have other students coming and going for classes, because the advanced students were just me. And she was involved in that. She's been with us for a long time too. But that being said, we have the ability to assist you to things that might be time consuming and bulky for you to do. Let us know, and we might be able to work something out where we're able to assist you and make your teaching life easier.
And you guys are free to go, but if anyone wants to stay, I was going to show where to go, about the free CEUs and stuff like that, and show you a little bit about our new CCO Academy that we're very I love that. Okay, good. You just show, basically what we're excited about here. So this is our CCO Academy, and there is a video where Alicia and I kind of went through it, but I just want to show you, I'm logged in as my test user, Florida Laureen, and you can see here, Florida Laureen. So if you see these padlocks, right, what I want you to do is go to your little chat thing here, and you should have a CCO help desk. Click on that, and then you can chat with the help desk and say, I don't see the free CEU area. So I'm not sure why that's happening. So I'll have to go in and fix it, but it literally takes us like 2 seconds, and we can click on 2 things, and then you'll be able to see that. So the way this platform works, go ahead, Alicia.
Also, if you don't want yours to be black, you can also have a light version too, by the way.
Yeah, you just come up here and switch to light mode. Woo! So if you see a padlock and you think you should have access, just reach out through the direct message to the help desk. But public areas, the help desk, and the community are all our free areas. And then we get into the premium area. This is where the club folks hang out. So they would come in here. This is where we have our posts, right? So this, I wanted to kind of show you. We have a bot that's just for the premium members. It is blowing our mind. So this I copied from a student. She had asked a diagnostic question about abdominal pain, the difference between generalized and abdominal pain, just plain abdominal pain. So she asked the Cody bot, and you get access to this if you're a student or a club member. That's who we call our premium members, basically the people that are supporting us. Thank you. So this is the response it gave. Now this bot is only allowed to use our content in the Academy. So every single course, using all the transcripts, all the lectures, any handouts that are in there, and all of the club stuff. So, and we've been doing this, like Alicia said, for a long time. So there's a lot of content in there, and it will give you like a little source links within it. So even if you don't have access to that course, the bot will still give you the information. But if you do have access to it, you can click on the link and you can go dive in and get even more information. So really, really helpful. So I just wanted to highlight that. And you can just go to the next one and, you know, quickly go through, you know, stuff. But it works just like Facebook. You got your general feed, like the big river, like everything coming in from all your different Facebook groups or, you know, individual people you follow. It's the same thing here. But if you want to focus in on just the club, you just click on it and it filters that view down. We've got the student topics. Here's another bot one. And see how it gives the links to the sources that it got this answer from module 3 of the risk adjustment course and chapter 6, and then module 1 of risk adjustment basics, chapter 7 of, you know, so these are all our different courses in different areas to pull together and get the answer. So here was another one. If this is someone who's brand new starting out, as in like, I'm struggling, like knowing how to use the index and finding main terms. So, you know, part of what we do with our welcome calls is we tell them, use the bot, talk to the bot like it's your teacher or your coach. Don't just say diabetes coding. You know, you got to give it context. If you went to your instructor, you would say, you know, I get the general idea, but I'm really struggling with knowing, you know, how to know if they're insulin dependent or how that works, or, you know, so you've given them context, and now they can drill down into the specific question, and you can ask follow-up questions. And we have a AI inbox because we monitor it. The help desk team monitors it because sometimes they ask help desk questions or they get stuck and they get a little frustrated. So we can step in and say, you know, talk to it like a person and show them how to do the prompts, or we jump in and because sometimes it doesn't get it right and we have to help and say, oh, here's the link to what you're asking for.
Tell them about the girl the other day that broke the bot. You thought that was so funny.
Yeah. Vicky. Yeah. She's just like, my bot, I don't have access. And she was like having withdrawal. So the platform is called Circle. So we reached out to them and they helped us figure it out. So she's back going again. And I liked it when she came back, she goes, Cody, are you there? And it's like, yep, I'm here ready to help. She's like, yay. So she had it back and away she went again. So I'm posting a lot of these in the evening when I'm done with my day job. I come in here, and when I see good ones, then we share it. Then we all get to benefit from the content. So, you know, at the very least, become a club member, support us that way. It's, you know, $25 a month, and you get a lot. You get all the CEUs. Every, webinar we do, you get access and all the handouts. And now that the handouts are in here and you search on something for work or, what do my kids say, IRL in real life that you need, then it'll find it all for you. You don't have to slog through and look for it. You do a search, and it's as simple as just coming to the search and typing in, what was the question from tonight you said to look up?
It was a particular drug, but well, just look up muscular sclerosis, see what it comes up. But I don't know if it.
For what, MS?
G35, yeah, MS.
What is the code?
G35.
Is this a new code?
No, it's muscular sclerosis. They expanded it. Now G35 is deleted and they've expanded it. But
so the AVA support bot is if you just want to drill down to like help desk stuff, like my subscription or, that kind of stuff. But this is like the premium bot. It searches the whole platform. So let's see how the Cody bot does. So instead of hitting enter, you choose the bot to help you. So now it's thinking. All right. So it's saying the ICD-10 code is used to identify multiple sclerosis. It's a chronic disease. Now, this one didn't give me any sources, so it must just be.
I don't think we talk about MS very often, so that's not surprising. Okay, so put in sepsis. Yeah, I need to understand sepsis.
I'm always nice to my bots.
I always say thank you and please.
Although I read when it's all done and you say thank you after, that alone is costing so much money because of the server process. But when I write my question, I'll say, may you show me blah, blah, blah. May you help me with this, or, and I'd say thank you, but at any rate. Whoa. And see, here's the 3 sources. So now if you click on any of these links and you don't have access to it, you could choose to enroll if you want, or subscribe with the new $59 a month plan, or just benefit from the information up here. That's what's great about being a club member. You get access to the whole academy, maybe not in a normal enrollment, go through every course, pass the test, that kind of thing. So how did it do, Alicia?
I think it did great, because sepsis is something that, one, it's hard to understand, but the disease process itself is the coding is based on that. And if you don't understand all the different areas that you need to talk about to get a proper code, then you can't. And it's big money, so they want you to get it right. And
the bot has a safe word. So if you say human, then it knows you've given up having the bot answer your question and you need a human to help.
And so when you are a member, I was going to say that earlier, that means you have access to Laureen and I, not just us, but other people that are in the platform. That we do have people in there that, they work in a specific area. And so they're well versed in that area. And sometimes they just use us as a tiebreaker. Can you find a resource? I think this is right, but I can't find a resource. And so we're able to help them do that. So, and we've had people answer other people's questions, and not just us in there, because it's an area they work in. So that's kind of cool.
And every student gets a group DM. So, and in that group is me, Alicia, Darcy, and Mary. We're all the coaches. And then a help desk, which that is shared between Sylvia and William, who's ever covering. So you can ask any question at all that you have about, your experience with CCO. And we all see it. And sometimes it's just given a thumbs up and someone's already taken care of it. But we just have to look for the dots. If there's a dot lit up, we've got a message. We review it. We jump in. We try and help. I know today, one of the ladies signed up for the Club Plus, and she's just got a job in risk adjustment. You know who I'm talking about, Alicia. And she has some questions for Alicia. Well, how do I get in touch? I said, use your private support room. She was, oh yeah. I said, Alicia's in there and she'll answer. So yeah, so it's really, I'm really, as you can tell, very excited about it. I'm so happy that the team just pulled together and got everything moved over. And it's, I think you'll really like it if you come peek your head in and give it a try. And what's great about the subscriptions is it's very easy now for you to cancel. Everything is within this system. So if you, like say you enrolled today and you decide 25 days from now, yeah, I don't want to renew, you just literally go on your profile and there will be, and then you can click on your billing and you can come right here and click cancel. It's super easy. Yeah, I paid for my own club. Testing. But then I would just come here and click the 3 dots. Oh, I canceled it. So then I would have to, I could restart it, you know. So, but if I didn't cancel is still going, then it would have the cancel functionality. So it's really, really easy. And all these little badges are just what this particular demo user has enrolled in. And that helps us as the, you know, people supporting say, okay, what did they enroll in? Oh, okay. And we can see real quick. And you can also see when your people are corresponding. Oh, they're a club member or this or that, or, you know, oh, they're going through the CRC blitz right now. And so you really quickly know what, you know, what they're doing in the academy here. So, and then all these other dots, this is the Bat Cave. So when you want to look at the ICD-10, it looks like a course. You click start. You don't have to do it like a course, but it just kind of walks you through it. So you just click start and you read what this is saying. You click complete lesson. It gives you a green check. You move on to the next one. You know, this is just a little announcement thing. Move on to the next one. This is how to navigate the guidelines. What we just highlighted today gives you a little video on how that works. And then this is where you would come click on the link to view that PDF. This is the 2025. And this is how easy the handouts open up. And you can download it, save it. We don't have all handouts where you can download. You know, for obvious reasons. So we've had a lot of theft of our curriculum. So yeah, that's it. That's how easy it is to go through that. And we even have all the ones from the previous years if you were a pack rat. And so now Florida Laureen has completed it. Yay. Gives you a little celebration. And we get to see all that in our kind of big, you know, grade book for the courses. And then the mind maps are really cool for ICD. This is where when I was studying and trying to really get the diagnostic coding down, I came up with, I love mind maps for just like everything. What would be a good one?
Oh, do the top one because we were talking about it. And Sylvia mentioned that there's a mind map for it and she didn't know what a mind map was. And so.
Yeah, sometimes these take a bit because the server is in Germany. So it's called MindMeister. Of course, this is happening when I'm doing a demo. There it is. Okay, so basically we start with the core concept and we normally work our way around like a clock. And if I have stuff to the 11 to the left, it's going to be like definitions. So, you know, you got to understand the definitions first. You can click and drag, you know, to get it to where you want. When you see these little things, it normally means you can expand it in little branches. So SIRS, Systemic inflammatory response syndrome is defined as the presence of 2 or more of the following 4 symptoms. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Body temperature, tachycardia, tachypnea, abnormal white cell count. And then you can just read all the details, like, okay, oh, all right. And then you just collapse that up. And then this one didn't have any little things off it. So it's just telling us sepsis is infection plus SIRS. Severe sepsis is sepsis plus associated organ dysfunction. And septic shock is sepsis plus circulatory failure. So you can see the definition. So now as you go in to look at the guidelines, they'll make a little bit more sense. And this is what one of the things that our interns do every year is they will update the mind maps and see, is there anything that needs to be changed because of what's in the guidelines, Let's see what this one is. Cleveland Clinic provides a number of references to assist in understanding. So I'll give you a little, so there's a little link here. So you could click off and go pull that up. So you get the idea, and then you can just collapse it and make it look a little neater. You cannot copy, edit. This is just for viewing and learning purposes. Now, I had someone today or yesterday ask if they could copy. I said, no, it's proprietary. I said, but you could create your own mind map and type it out as a way to learn. I think that's a great way to learn, or make your own, and if you really want to, share it with us, and we'll give you credit, and we'll put it up in the area. So that's
anytime you do anything, even if it's typing your notes out or stuff, there is something that allows that to stick in your brain a little more. So these mind maps are a brilliant way to do that. Handwriting your notes while you're listening to a lecture, and then turning around and typing them out. All of that is in a format, like an outline that's easy to use, bubble and highlighting your manuals. That all of that makes you understand the content better.
Yeah. And these dots are lit up because this demo user enrolled in the PBC and MTA course. So the rest will have a padlock because they're not enrolled, The popular one today was people signing up for the Club Plus. It's $329 to get in, and then $99 a month because you get access to 2 courses at once. So, $59 subscription times 2. This way you get, and the benefit of that program is when you complete, where you get over a 70 average on all the modules, then that dot will stay colored for you as long as you're a club member. So now you can say, all right, I'm done with the PBC. I would now like to do risk adjustment. So you get to keep the PBC, and maybe you have medical terminology as well. And now you pull in risk adjustment. That's how the Club Plus works. And then you finish up medical terminology, and you're like, okay, I'm done with medical terminology. I would like to do pharmacology. Or maybe you want to do another core course. I don't know if you'd want to do inpatient and risk adjustment at the same time. They do overlap, but you have some flexibility there. And you might try it for a couple months and I don't like this one. And then you can like return it and then take out another course, but your progress will be saved. So if you do 3 modules of inpatient, you say, you know what, instead of doing inpatient, I think I want to do risk adjustment and come back and do inpatient later. And you did a couple modules, it'll save your progress. You just will see the padlock, but you can't get into it. But when you reactivate it again, you will be able to pick up where you left off. So that's kind of a cool feature. So, if you really like, we have a lot of people that have done almost every course we've ever done. And so they are a club member and they get to have the access to this. So all their dots are lit up. And then beyond that, we've got all the review blitzes. And then we've got the trial practice exams. We changed it from free to trial. And then these are our paid. So the difference is trial is $5 for the platform fee, same type of exam, same kind of difficulty. And then the paid ones are just additional ones, because part of our proven process is take a full course, hopefully with us, but if it's with someone else, it's okay. Then do a review blitz, then do timed practice exams, as many as it takes until you score an 85%. And the key there that a lot of people forget, timed. don't just do it to see if you can get, no, you're simulating an exam experience. So you want to set your timer, figure out how much time the real exam is for whichever one you're taking, how many questions are on it, divide accordingly. Okay, now you're doing a 50 or 60 question. Give yourself that much time on the timer so you can practice the techniques in the bonus section that we have in the Bat Cave for doing process of elimination and all that type of stuff. So, and then these are just links, and this is where you would get the link to the mobile app, the Android or the iOS. It's really, really nice. The videos play really nice. So if you've already watched a lecture or you've watched one of these monthly webinars, then, and you want to listen to it, maybe you're at the gym and you just want to reinforce some concepts, you can do that. And it plays really nice. You're at the doctor's office, you're waiting, you're running errands. So, and we're trying to do one of our webinars where it's more podcast style, it's not so visual aid heavy. I mean, we'll always have visual aids, but it's more just listening to what we're saying. It's going to be the stuff that we used to do back in the day where we talked about career advice, how to get that first job. We haven't talked about those topics in a while, and they're buried way down because we have so many YouTube videos. So we're going to bring those back. We're going to do interviews. I had one lady today, she works in pathology, and she mentioned an issue that they're having. I said, would you like to be interviewed and share that? She's like, sure. So we're going to do interviews. If you have something like that you'd like to share with the community, or just share your story about how you got into coding and what you're doing now to encourage people that are considering this for a career and they're not sure, they can hear success stories and why you like it. And, you know, one of the things I tell people, I mean, there's not very many careers that you could literally decide that you want to do it and be done and certified in 9 months to a year and be looking for that first job and decent paying for having only needing to go for a year. So, yeah. Any other questions? I think we're good. Thank you, Alicia. Good job. And thanks everyone who hung out with us. We still have 38 people that are still with us as we're yabbering away. So our next event, you can come here and click on events, and it gives you a nice calendar view. And so we're at the end of August. So now we're going to be going into our September schedule. And so the 11th, we have a Q&A webinar scheduled. The 18th is our private Zoom call. It's only within the Circle app for our premium members. So our students and our club members. And the reason why we combine it, because honestly, club members are always going to be students. They might also be taking a course, but you know, the questions can benefit. Last week we had one person and that was fine. And it ended up, she goes, I feel like I have
really good.
You and Alicia all to myself, but the content we covered was all about risk adjustment, getting a first job at Optum, and it's recorded and it's in the, well, I can show you. You go to, oops.
We got to learn a little bit about why she chose this career and her work ethic and some of the challenges she had. And then we were able to give some insight into things that we've done and how our careers had changed and progressed and what she was wanting to do and what she thought she wanted to do in the future. It was a lot of fun, and it's very casual. So it's like sitting in a room together. So I really encourage you guys, if you can be a part of that, to join.
So we did it on the 21st. When you come here, if you want to watch a past one, you got to change it to past. And you just click on it, and right at the bottom, you'll see the recording. I'd look like really tired there, but and it has a transcript. And again, the bot is slurping up all these transcripts and all this information. So everything that Alicia shared, and it was gold, it was really good, is now available. When someone asks a question, it could refer to this very meeting to go get that information. So at any rate, come join us. And thanks for being with us tonight. We really appreciate it. And thanks again to Find a Code. Check them out and let us know what your experience is with them. All right, everyone. See you around the academy.
Looking for medical coding, medical billing, and risk adjustment education? Learn more at cco.us.